Our next guest had been in the NFL as an official since 2003. He's now a rules analyst for CBS Sports. He'll be with Jim Nantz and Tony Romo coming up on Sunday. 35 years total as an official, Gene Steratore. Gene, good morning. How you doing?
Good morning, D. Doing well.
Well, we got a question coming into us already on Ask the Pros. This is from Tim in New Orleans. What the hell happened last week?
That's a good morning question. I guess we're off and running, DA. Nothing like just walking into this. Let's just go right into it.
You know,
right?
I didn't want to soft pedal you, Gene. We know where we got to go right away.
Yeah.
So did you feel uncomfortable when you watched it happen, knowing what we were seeing on the replays?
Sure. First you feel uncomfortable because you love the game. And we always want, as officials and fans, to let the play on the field dictate the outcome of a game. And with that doesn't mean that we don't need the officials involved. We do need the officials involved when it's appropriate and applicable. But when you see a play like that where in that 3.5 seconds of time, which will be replayed forever and in a lot of people's minds in slow motion and frame by frame, the mistake occurs. And it's an empty feeling. It's an empty feeling for the game. First, and then it becomes more human for me because of being an official and understanding what happens as a result.
I was going to say, you guys root for one another. It's a brotherhood. You know the critique, you know the criticism, you know the slings and arrows that come with that job. So I would imagine it's very personal. It's not that you're doing it anymore, but I'm sure you know the feeling of going, boy, they blew the call and now it's going to be kind of hell to pay for it publicly.
Yeah, I mean, that's look, once you're an official, you're always an official. You always will be able to empathize and understand that world that officials live in, regardless of their sport. The first thing that goes to you naturally is the realization of what has just happened and what the ramifications will be to you personally. But then the next step, and everybody that's worked a long career will have their share of controversies at times. So you also understand what occurs with their family and with all their support system in a normal human environment, which we lose at times when it comes to officials. We dehumanize them, to some extent. It was an understood and accepted thing as an official. Great officials wear that as a badge of honor. They don't want to be seen or recognized, and that's the greatest compliment that you can provide an official is, hey, who reffed that game? I mean, that's what you strive to do. So if you think of it outside of the box and take yourself personally away from the emotion of it, just to understand what I just said to you about that, these guys go in front of hundreds of millions of people through the course of their career, and their objective is to not be recognized. That's kind of unique in our world today, right?
Absolutely. Longtime NFL official Gene Steratore joins us here on the show. So also when you broke in, yes, the internet was a thing, but social media was not a thing. And now, after a play like that last Sunday, immediately it's focused on TV, but then it's on Twitter, and it's on Facebook, and it's on Instagram, and it's on the internet. And everyone is picking apart and ripping it and retweeting it and ripping it. And I wonder about that. I know in my business, the same type of thing, but certainly not on that scale. The people can criticize you, write to you, and it just kind of picks up this momentum and steam. Can that be paralyzing if you're an official and you're thinking about that type of critique that you will get because of social media?
If you allow it to, which is the next challenge that you face as an official. When the first time I ever really understood Twitter was probably about 6 months ago when with this new job, it was kind of suggested that we have a social media account. I always looked at it as anti-social media personally, and it does allow for the abrasive, overly aggressive type of language, not just in officiating, but in life right now because of the ability to say things without having that person in front of you. So I never really read it. I can tell you that, as my children grew and this social media evolved here in the last 7 or 8 years, you became more recognizable as a referee. So that was something we had to adjust to as referees. But the kids always created some levity with it for me. They might take the top 5 of the week and at some point during that week, throw the top 5 out, Dad. Like, wow, I thought you were bad, but this one's really, this is a good one. So we would save them, and you try to spin it a little to make it, palatable.
How do you feel about Roger Goodell and the NFL not addressing the call this week yet?
The commissioner, the officiating department, and the people involved there, I'm sure that they have their reasons for doing this the way they're doing it. I would never question how they're doing that. I do know that Coach Payton did mention rather quickly, I believe, in his postgame that he was contacted by the NFL or an OWL right after the game. So I don't like to go into that chair and try to guesstimate as to why he has or hasn't made that formal statement yet. I think they have acknowledged that it's been a mistake.
Well, when they fined Roby Coleman, they kind of said, look, it should have been a penalty. And so I wonder, is it protecting the officiating crew by not adding fuel to the fire by addressing it? Or would the officiating crew want the NFL to kind of, I don't know, come clean or admit? Sometimes when you just admit that you were wrong, it's a bear off your back. I don't know. What do you think?
Almost as if it's like one more step to the finalization of this. Like we can move on. There's some closure feeling to it. As an official, and this is no offense to the statements that are made after the game, the closure that you have to get to as an official is an internal closure. Honestly, working basketball as many years as I did, that was one of the luxuries of being a basketball official, is that if you had a tough game on Monday and there was a play or two there, and you hope that these plays never happen at the end of the game, or we can pinpoint it like almost right. But in basketball, Tuesday, there was a game. There was another game the next night, so you kind of could rinse and get rid of it, because you had to be ready the next night. In football, it's different even in the regular season. Look, now that I'm on this side of the chair, we dissect these games for 6 days, every single play from thousands of angles. So when you're an official in football at this level, each of those games has a 6-day window between them where you're open to the scrutiny of every single play from thousands of angles. I remember getting downgraded once or twice on my grading, and the angle that they downgraded me on was the Skycam. And I'm like, look, I could have seen that hold, but you'd have to strap me to a wire and fly me over top of the stadium to get it. So that level of scrutiny, which, again, officials don't go out and tell people, look, I'm graded on every play from multiple angles every single week. You guys have no idea the magnitude of this scrutiny. Officials wear that stuff as a badge of honor. They don't share that with people. And part of this platform, I hope, as this position evolves, is to at least create the ability for the public to understand a little of what these men and women are doing at this level, and honestly, really how good they are in the big picture. It's tough to do that this week. Look, it is, and I get that. But there is a humanizing factor, and I can assure you, I've had some guys say, well, you guys aren't athletes. And I said, wait a minute. I'm in my mid-50s. Father Time is winning the physical battle. If you have any idea the level of concentration that you have to apply to go through these 6-second windows of plays for 3 straight hours and not miss anything, and sometimes not blink, because a blink could be a pass fumble, and the emotion involved in that, and managing people in an intense atmosphere for 3 straight hours, and managing a lot of people who are not being told no for the rest of their lives other than on the field by me. That's a level of athleticism that doesn't occur too often in this day and age, believe me.
Gene Steratore joins us along Radio Row here in Atlanta. I will raise my hand. I'm not just playing nice here because you're here. I absolutely crucified the officiating no call last week, but I've also said this a number of times. I think you guys have been put in, or you were put in, and current officials, an impossible situation. You are officiating guys who are faster in the blink of an eye than ever before, bigger than ever before, in the same size field that it was 30 years ago, 50 years ago, and we have slow motion to dissect every mistake you could potentially make, and you blink, and then you miss it, but we see it, our eyes are open on slow-mo. I don't know if you can officiate that way anymore. And so I almost wonder if we're at the point where everything has to be reviewable or nothing is reviewable. There are times when I go, you know what? Let's get rid of instant replay and just let these guys make the call. And I don't know, is that a better solution, you think?
You know, I hope there's a dance in between, D, but I appreciate what you just said, because that is the truth of it. I mean, what you just laid out is exactly what's happening. And here's the other step. We are the only team, and there are 3 teams on the field where anything short of perfection is not acceptable. You know, if every play that an offensive coordinator calls, the intent for that play is to have a touchdown at the end of it, right? Everyone does their job, we score. On the defensive side, if we all succeed in that play, there is no gain. Somebody's missing something on every single snap because they're human and other elements take place. They lose by their position. They're in a bad spot. They misread this or that. And that's okay. Quarterbacks throw incompletions. Guys drop balls. But officials can't miss plays, you know, and they just the level and the bar that is set for officiating is so high that I think we are challenged with the feel that you're never going to work a perfect game. I always felt that. And I think replay has done this to officiating. Replay has given the country this false sense that, look, even if they miss it, we can fix it. Right? And then as soon as we come up with a play or a scenario where replay can't fix it, well, then let's just increase replay because we got to get that one right too.
Yes.
So where is the end, and at what point? You know, I came in the league, and when a catch was a catch is when the receiver's third foot hit, and it was in real time, and you just went with it. And if it was the second step going to the third, and it really felt like a catch, but the third one didn't land, we just waved incomplete. The crowd booed for about 4 seconds, and we played. Nobody replayed them. We just moved on, and the game flowed and moved on. And we have our philosophies on how to officiate in real time because it's not frame by frame. But if we brought replay into every one of these judgments, you know, a bang pass interference calls we don't call, which are really great no calls on the field. But if we replayed that and went frame by frame, 3 camera frames before the ball got there, you can see he contacted him. Okay. Let's go out and see if we can officiate that consistently. So, again, it's a catch-22. Officials want to get it right. As we expand replay, we have to make sure we don't dive into it so far where it hurts the game and the flow. So we're in that play. That's where we are.
Gene Steratore joining us this morning on the DA Show. He'll be part of the broadcast team coming up Sunday, Super Bowl Sunday. Tony Romo, Jim Nantz, and Gene will be bringing you the action. We'll see Rams and Patriots, and I think we all hope that it doesn't come down to controversial officiating. I know the officials don't want that either. So it's exciting to have you aboard the CBS team, man. It's so good to see you. I'm sure you're a fellow Paisan like me, knowing Steratore. And so I don't know if you can find good Italian in Atlanta. I'm just looking for barbecue this week.
You're looking for barbecue? Yeah, exactly. I'm going to have the kids bring down some leftover pasta. I think if they can get it in the bag, I'll be all right with it this way, D. Thank you.
It's really good to have you, man.
You too. Thanks for having me.
Gene Steratore joining us, rules analyst for CBS Sports.